Welcome, welcome, guys. I hope you like the music. Isogenics approved. Oh gosh. Okay. So let's go ahead and mute these lines and get comfortable muting and unmuting your lines because there's going to be a lot of chatter tonight. Go ahead and I hope you can put it on the speaker view so that you can always see whoever's speaking at the time. But guys, I'm so excited to have you tonight. This has been the call that I've been most excited about because we're going to see a little more vulnerability and rawness here as we share our stories. And tonight is really about you and your questions, you know, your journey and maybe help that these guys can give you. So I hope that you have the courage to ask your questions. We're going to try to answer the questions pretty quickly so that we can get through a lot of them. But to start out, I know Chris is on, David's on, is PK on? Looking over here. PK, are you on, hun?
It's either PK or PK's twin. He's got his mute button on.
Okay. Well, PK, go ahead and unmute yourself. We need you. And Chris, I know you're on the line, right? There's Angelique.
I'll be right back.
That's what they say in the scary movies. Don't say that.
Maybe I won't.
So anyway, guys, so let's start off with David, since you're on and I can hear you. Why don't you share a little bit about your story, just as far as, you know, how were you introduced and what were the main kind of points of your journey that shifted where you're at now?
So I was introduced to it, obviously, by Angelique. It kind of happened at the same time. I think the biggest thing about our journey is we weren't really looking, like most people, we weren't really looking for this amazing opportunity. We were only looking for something to help us get in better shape. I call it the perfect storm because I was turning 40. I was just coming off major shoulder surgery. And Angelique just had a baby. So I had gained some weight with that baby. And the fact of the matter is, it came at the perfect time for us. It was one of those things where she had to beg me to do it. And then once I did it, I realized that I was not stopping at the coffee shop as much. My energy, my workouts were better. And then what happened was we started to share it immediately. And we realized that if we just shared it, we could pay for our electric bill. You know, that's where most people need to start. Ella, hold on, please. Most people start with just a simple payment. You know, we always talk about, and that's why I love PK's teaching, because people always want to talk about millionaire, or people want to talk about all this money, but what it starts with is a simple payment. It starts with getting your products paid for. It starts with maybe paying for an electric bill or a cable bill, and then it goes on to something bigger. So we really love the spot we're at, and it's one of those things where if we could do it all over again, sure, we'd do things differently. But I was talking to somebody today. Everybody on this call realized sometimes the best lesson learned are the hard ones. Let's take, for instance, if you put somebody in the wrong spot, you know, and you put them on and you didn't put them on your leg, but you put them on an inside leg like you're not supposed to on somebody else's, and then you got to learn. You know, especially if they can't move it, you're going to know that's not the right one to do. Because people can tell you all day long, this is the right place to put something, or this is the right way to approach something. And sometimes it's just the good old fashioned, well, you messed up pretty bad and there's nothing you can do about it. And that's a good lesson. So don't be scared if you have some failures along the way and things don't go right, because that's all part of getting better at this business. And the last thing I'll say is we're in it for 4 years now, and we still feel like we can learn from people that just came in our business this year. We've learned some stuff from new people. And I'll use the last sports analogy. And I think we've talked about this before. Every time there is a team and you have a great coach, and for some reason he's either fired or he steps down, and everybody says, well, why did they get – because sometimes you need a fresh perspective. Sometimes you need somebody else telling you things. So that's why if you guys are building your teams, it's so important to let new blood and new people start to take over those calls, start to do some of the things, because people want to hear from new people. And again, I sound like I'm repeating stuff that PK already said, but that's because he's a good mentor and because it's sunk in. So everything that I know is from basically a lot of people, but 3 people. It's Chris Harder primarily. Angelique put a lot of information in my head just by osmosis, and she's brilliant at this business, and PK. So, nobody's a genius. We just learn from people who do it the right way and then duplicate their methods.
Excellent.
Amen to that. So I just heard PK's voice. So PK, same question. A lot of people just want to know what really intrigued you about Isagenix to get you started. And then what was it that really shifted your mind to, learning the business of it?
I'd been offered to join a network marketing company when I was 18 because I was always like me. So they wanted me on the team. But I could never find someone who ever made any money. And I'm cheap. Man, if this sucker ain't making money, I'm not doing it. And it wasn't until Susan Sly we met anyone who ever made a dime. And we knew Susan back when she was broke, before Isagenix. We knew her and collaborated with her in Brockville. She was the president of the Brockville Community Foundation, and I was the police chaplain, and we ended up on committees together. And I knew her when she was broke before Isagenix. And it was her example of seeing someone completely turn her entire financial future around that really attracted it to us. And Susan brought us on to start mentoring Team Success 7.5 years ago. And that kind of began the whole ball rolling, and it began us looking at the business and trying to break it down into principles. Because one of the challenges great leaders have is they tend to be innate leaders. They can do it, but they can't break it down into steps. So it's hard to duplicate for someone else. Best example, Michael Jordan owns the Charlotte Hornets, and they suck. And he doesn't suck. He's the best basketball player ever, and I'm a Laker fan. But he's the best there ever was. But he can't put that drive. He can't break it down for his young players. And even though he's had top draft picks for over a decade, they suck. Why? Because often really great performers challenge breaking it down into techniques. And that's what we've done for 7.5 years. And it's a lot of fun because just in the call before this one, 2 people said, I used your script this week and I sold my first President's Pack in 3 years. And then when we talked about the numbers of how much more money you make when you lead so that they join with President's Packs over 30 days, she kind of got a little depressed because she'd been doing it for 3 years. And I told her, one of our mentees, she had 43 30 days in a row. And then she found the script and she did 9 President's Packs in a row. Changed her business. And every time I hear someone tell that story, big mentor smile on my face. It makes me really happy.
I absolutely love that, PK, because it really is the hardest thing for us. When you're naturally good at something, you have no idea how you're doing it. And your methods have been so great. I have to say that my team, we did a 5-week training with PK. Guys, this is how powerful a simple system is and simple language, verbiage, because in 1.5 years, we didn't sell a single business builders pack. I thought that was just for rich people that could afford that kind of stuff, And in 1 month of using PKs, our team had sold 13 business builders pack. This is 1 month. And it was all just our verbiage changing. So thank you for that, PK.
Well, I always say that business builders packs and PK packs are like bunnies. When you get 2, you get a dozen.
I like that. That's awesome. So I know we're going to go back to address that question because that's a big one. So let's go. Chris, are you on the line yet?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Awesome. So same question, Chris. Share a little more about how you got started and the emotional, the tie to it and what really drove you in the beginning.
Lori and I were massive skeptics. So we have a little bit different story, I guess. For an entire year, our friend Holly had asked Lori to try it, all while Holly was like melting in front of Lori's eyes because they're training together. And for an entire year, Lori's like, nope, not for me. Nope, just chew your food, like all that stuff that dumb trainers say, right? And it wasn't until Lori reached a real low point where her body stopped responding to her normal way of clean eating when she'd get ready for a photo shoot or a competition or something like that, that all of a sudden she became open. And there's a lesson there. You know, timing is everything. You have to absolutely be the person who's in front of them once it becomes their time. And that's what happened to us. So Lori reached a low point. She started putting it in her body. And day 4, day 5, I always like to say I got my wife back. Her attitude, her energy, everything was right back to the awesome levels that it used to be. And I actually, when she said she was going to do this isogenics thing, I said, no way, because money was tight at the time. We were rebuilding our finances at the time. And I said, no way you're spending money on that. We have a whole closet full of supplements of garbage that other companies send to the house, and none of it works. And, you know, Lori, she's like, my body, my brand, I'm going to try it. I need something. So day 4, day 5, after seeing her change, I went from skeptical husband to, you know, tucking my tail between my legs and saying, do you mind if I try it too? Because I had gotten out of shape and I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. And I was in a miserable spot. So I tried it. And for an entire year, the products rocked. Like our bodies just got right into place. Things were easier. We had more energy. Everything physically was fantastic. But our walls were so far up about the profession of network marketing that despite me being miserable in my career, despite us needing more money at the time, despite all of those things, we still wouldn't try it. And despite seeing Holly being very successful in the profession. So it wasn't until, once again, our timing changed and I reached a mega low point personally, professionally, just sick and tired of my career. At the same time as one of Lori's friends, Jackie, who's actually out in Hall right now, cornering her and saying, I know you're doing something. What are you doing? And Lori said to her, she's like, I didn't want to tell you it's network marketing. I was afraid you'd think that I was trying to make money off of you, but it's this thing called isogenics, and it freaking rocks. And Jackie looked at her, and she goes, you bitch. She goes, what kind of friend would let me sit here and suffer and not tell me about something that's working really good for you? And that was Lori's aha moment. And I remember she came home, and she was so excited to tell me, she's like, Chris, this happened today, and I literally think that we have a moral obligation to share this. It hit me that we were being, you know, stupid by just being greedy and keeping it to ourselves. And me secretly wanting it to work or secretly wanting to be pushed because I was so miserable, I was like, all right, maybe we should try it. Went to our first event, a celebration. I went there expecting to make fun of people for flashing pins and stupid outfits, and it was a total opposite, right? It was awesome. Good-looking people. People were in shape. It was tons of professionals that just wanted a different way of life. Everyone was happy. It was awesome. So we left that event 2 feet in. And I remember on the plane ride home, I was like, babe, okay, we're locking arms. We're going to crush this. But it was 2 very distinct instances of our timing having to be absolutely right for the products and then later for the business, or we wouldn't be here today. So my advice is there's a few things you can do to persuade people to make them think, or maybe make them realize that right now is their timing. But for the most part, it's not about getting somebody. It's about being the person who stayed in front of them long enough until their timing was naturally right. And that's what I call filling your pipeline.
Wow, right there. That was so awesome, Chris.
And Chris, I tell Chris's story every week. When someone's impatient, I say, what if you've got a Chris and Lori Harder and you're not following up with them? Mm-hmm. Or they're on the product for 6 months. You say, just a product user. That would suck.
Yeah.
For all of us.
Oh, yeah. You know, and Alexis Hermano was a big inspiration for me at my first event, 4 weeks in, because she was in the business for 3 years and had cycled 11 times, and I already done that 4 weeks in. And when I heard her say that, and she was a counselor at a high school and she was trying to do the business, she just didn't know how, and she was sucking at it. And here she is, in the top of our company with earning potential and what she's doing. And for 3 years, she cycled 11 times. Like, how powerful is that about timing? Putting your skin in the game and being willing to being a total disaster, like David Wood says, being a disaster before you master this thing. So awesome. I see Angelique is now baby free. So Angelique, we know David's story and how he kind of followed you and watched you, but And you have to touch on what you always teach at the ICUs with, you apologizing to moms with the meal prepping and everything. I love that part. So if you could kind of share your skepticism and what kind of brought you into it and what's changed.
Well, I was a brand new mom trying to just getting a grip on brand new life. And that was really hard because I was overwhelmed, I was overworked, I was overtired and undernourished, and everything that I once completely knew was completely different. Like my life was foreign now. I had a human being that was speaking in languages I didn't understand. So all of those years that I had spent prepping my meals and carrying my food around with me and going to the gym a couple of times a day, that was over because, like you just said, Trish, it'd be noon before I brushed my teeth yet, and I couldn't remember the last time I had a shower, and I would be wearing breast milk and going, okay, I can't carry my food in Tupperware anymore, so I need to find a solution, and it needs to be right now. And I looked everywhere, and as a nursing mom, it was literally impossible for me to find anything that I felt was okay to put in my body, let alone good for me to put in my body, because I'd be vicariously giving it to my child. And that was when life got real for me. I was like, this is no longer a selfish endeavor. This is something that I want to be a family affair. And I want to make sure I'm doing the right thing by my kids. So by accident, I was on Lori's website looking for a Super Bowl recipe, and we were acquaintances at best at the time. We had competed together. We kept in touch over Facebook, and I saw this Why I Choose Isogenics, and I emailed her immediately, and I thought she got signed by a new company. I said, who is this Isogenics? Did you sign a new contract? She goes, no, they don't endorse me. They don't endorse any athletes. It's just something I found that I love, and I'll just never go back to what I used to do. Well, what she used to do was what I used to do. So immediately my ears perked up and I wanted to know more. I looked up myself and I said, is this one of those things? Because I'm not selling anything. And she goes, it is, but it doesn't work that way. And basically the gist was, it's your privilege, not an obligation. So, I chose to start on all the things that I could start on as a nursing mom. I had absolutely zero expectations. I was just tickled pink that, there were ingredients that I could stand by and put in my body. And 3 days later, I felt like someone lit me up like a Christmas tree. So the very first thing I did was look at this big log over here and said, come hell or high water, pal, you're getting this in your body, whether you like it or not. And you should see what he's doing right now. So, he had tried every protein on the market, and I used to fill up vitamin things for him. He wouldn't take them. It was hell for me to try to get him to do anything, but he started to feel amazing too. So immediately we reached out with, Chris and Lori and started to share it. And Chris used to get on calls with me. He's like, okay, so what's your goal this week? I'm like, I don't know, 7 new people. I would just throw out numbers and I would hit the goal. But it was just because I was in servant mode of enrolling people. Chris and Lori were pretty green too. There was not a lot of the things that you guys have access to now, nothing like what we had access to then. So there was a lot of guessing games, and we didn't really build in the beginning. It was a year of a lot of ups and downs in our personal life. It was a year of a lot of monstering, like PK always says. And finally, Chris said, "And you got to get to New York Kickoff." I said, "Chris, we're both from the corporate world. I've been to every sales convention known to man. It's probably a bunch of weird people walking around with flashing buttons saying, wait, now ask me how, you can count me out." And he goes, I promise that it's going to be the classiest, most well-produced event and most fit, beautiful people you've ever seen in your life. If it's not, I'll pay your way. I said, all right, I'm in. And I went. We took Ella. I sat in the back row. I listened to Susan Sloan on the first day. I cried my eyes out. And that giant inside of me was awakened. And I looked at David and I said, honey, there's no way we're going home and we're not crushing this. And that's when everything changed. That New Year kickoff 3 years ago, we had hit executive pretty much by accident, fell right back out. So we were a paper executive cycling about 6 times on average. And then within 5 months, I left corporate America. So when you match your passion with the vision of the company and you get your beliefs in line and you get an agreement with God and what you're there for, you can become unstoppable. But if your belief isn't there, anybody, including your mother-in-law, will back you up on your heels. So it's so important for you guys to have the belief to match that with your passion for the product. And David says, why do I always say your mother-in-law? Because everyone deals with their own family, and it has nothing to do with my mother-in-law personally. It's just your family's usually the hardest one.
That's how it's supposed to be, right?
Yeah. They're still not on board.
Surprise.
Surprise, surprise. Yeah, I dealt with that with DeAndre Reed. You know, here's this NFL player who you would think he could talk to anybody and enroll him, but he goes and talks to mom and sister, and they shut him down, and he felt like a total loser.
Yeah, my mom won't even come on board. I totally know.
It's like, don't start with family, but do, but don't. So I love that you mentioned the event and awakening that giant inside of you, because that is what events do. In my opinion, that's the main thing that events do for people is they awaken those giants inside of them. And they look around the room, and it's a room full of all these people, dreamers, these healthy, beautiful people. And it gives them permission to start dreaming and believing in themselves. You know, and I tell everybody, so when I started 2 years ago, I mean, I started completely for the product. And in fact, when I got the product, I trusted Barb so much that when I got the product, I opened it up and I was like, oh, there's shakes. Oh, what's a cleanse? Oh, what's a psionics? Like, I had no idea what I had bought, but I believed her, and I had this crazy faith inside of me that it was going to change my life. And so you guys know, I sold my refrigerator to get started because we were on welfare, right? We didn't have the money, but I got started because I believed that it could be life transforming, because of Barbara's belief. And when I went to that first event, it just awakened this thing inside me. It was like, oh my gosh, like I could do this. Listening to Alexis and Susan and all these people, I knew that I could do something big with it. And I want everybody to know that I really was that ignorance on fire that you talk about. I mean, I was just ignorance on fire, and we hit executive in 5 weeks, and it's completely changed our lives in ways that I can't even express in one call. But it was complete ignorance on fire. And I tell everybody, you can't say the wrong thing to the right thing to the wrong person, the wrong thing to the right person, because, you know, it's just right here. It's this belief. It's opening your mouth. And if you truly believe it, and if you're in line with your beliefs and your core values, and you're being honest and authentic, people will see that. And if they don't join you, they'll become your biggest cheerleaders. And maybe they will join you later on, is what I found. But I don't have any haters. I haven't ruined any relationships. I have stronger relationships today than I ever have had. And it's because I'm just being honest. I'm just sharing myself. And they either join me now or they join me later. So absolutely love that every one of you got started because of the product. PK, yes, no?
No, I was brought on to help mentor. Sorry. I did do a 9-day, and I released 16 pounds in 9 days.
Woo-woo. We know how much you love cleansing, PK.
Oh, I live for cleansing.
All right. So I want to, with those stories being shared, I want to open up to some questions. And again, we want to go through these questions pretty quickly. So please unmute your phone and just yell it out. If you don't want to speak, you can type your questions in the chat box, and I'm paying attention to that. I'm going to wait a few seconds here if anybody jumps in. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys, if you could give 3 pieces of advice that you wish you would have known before you started, or when you first got started, you've learned and you wish you knew then, what would they be?
I'm winging it. I'll go first. I've got to say, lesson number 1, know that more people than you expect are going to want to do this with you. And be okay with the fact that many of the people you expect would want to do this with you won't want to. I always say it's been like opposite day around here ever since we've started building this business. And you grow to love people where they're at and to really enjoy the surprises of the people you thought would never be interested are now interested. So you got to be okay with that. That's number 1. Number 2, consistency is absolutely the key to this game. I would rather you spend 10 hours a week, just in the little pockets of your day, an hour here, hour there, spread out through a whole week, then just crush it for 30 hours this week, and then nothing next week, and then a couple the next week, and then nothing next week. That even consistency is everything in this business. It really is, especially when you have people counting on you, your team. So consistency is everything. That's number 2. Number 3 is that this is the only profession I know of where you actually learn on the job at the same time as getting paid exactly for how effective you are. So you have to actually love that. There's too many people that beat themselves up saying, oh, see, I suck at this. Yeah, you suck at this. You've never gone to school for it. You've never done it before. It's okay to suck at it. And that's why they don't pay you very much right now. And the better you get at it, the more they're going to pay you. So you can't beat yourself up that you suck at first. You're learning literally on the job. It's like if you're going to be an attorney and they're like, oh, hey, nice to hire you day one. You've never gone to school for this, but you got court today. So, go wing it. Good luck. That's what we're doing. So those are my 3.
That's awesome. And, I love the training piece, Chris, because there's some things that I feel like I'm better at today, as far as like sharing the packs, like just your call alone. I keep getting calls. Chris's way of explaining the packs and breaking it down and getting them started, I'm selling 4 out of 4 times now. Like I keep getting these calls on how much your piece alone has helped everybody. And so there's things that I'm doing better today and I'm so much more efficient. But in some ways, I was actually better in the beginning as far as like that ignorance on fire. I was just running for it and I was enrolling more and I was turning consultants more because just my sheer passion and excitement. Whereas today, I go into management mode and I try to follow the rules and I try to do it correctly. And so I've had to kind of go back and forth to find my groove. And so that's just a part of it, right? I mean, there's some things you just have to let yourself be, and there's other areas that you're going to get better and better and better as you go. So I have a question here from James. So he wants to know if any of you chased off your friends trying to share. Did you have any bad experiences? And I'm assuming he's feeling salesy.
Yeah, I don't know if I would say chase them off, but I have a good thing. So what I would do is when I ask my friends, I always make sure to continue to treat them and leave the conversation. If they say no or not interested, I always make sure to say, hey, then let's catch up anyway for a bite to eat if they're in the same town, or let's go get a beer. And I know that sounds weird, but you want them to know that you're not just prospecting them, because the worst thing you could do is prospect a friend and they say no and they don't hear from you again, because then you're a schmuck that was literally just using them. B, if you say something like, hey, well, let's go get a beer sometime, then they know you're not some Nazi that's just eating tofu and drinking water all day, that you actually are a real person that does real things and still enjoys their life. So if you're worried about your friends, you know what? I don't know what your situation is, but I don't worry about my friends because I worry about this person right here and those 2 little kids over there. And if I worried about my friends more than I worried about them too, then I wouldn't be as successful. So you want to cultivate those relationships, but in the end, you're not going home with them. So I don't care what they're feeling like. To me, I want to be successful. So don't care so much about your friends more than your own success. The only person that cares about you is you.
Awesome.
I agree with that.
Awesome.
Not that you don't love on people.
Always leave it open. Like PK says, it's just a no for now. And if you say thank you, and you always qualify yourself. Sometimes I've gone back to the same person 3 times and said, hey, look, I know, that I've approached you with this, but I'm passionate. If you qualify yourself by saying you're passionate about something, all of a sudden you're actually giving yourself a reason to come back. Think about no matter what the situation was, even if it was as crazy as something like religious or politics. If you tell somebody, look, I'm just really passionate about this, so forgive me if I'm coming back to you again, what are they going to say? I don't like passionate people. So sometimes you just are really real with people and say, I'm just checking back on you. I know I told you I was gonna. This is what I do for a living. This is what I'm passionate about. And I still think you'd be a great fit for it. If you're not, I totally understand. I hope I didn't bother you. I'm just checking in. The thing what people do is they forget to just be real and say those things.
A great phrase that we found recently works quite well is the phrase, when I saw this, I thought of you. Isogenics is always coming up with a new product and a new angle. And you can honestly say to someone, you know what, when I saw this latest stuff about our amp line, I thought of you. You're a gym rat. This stuff works instantly. You're going to love this stuff. When I saw this, I thought of you.
Yep.
And honestly, keep a 3x5 card with you, because when you do think of someone, write down their name. Your brain is supposed to be a factory, not a warehouse. And you can honestly say, I saw this video. I thought of you. You know, I think of Laura's story. I think we should tell her story about her husband's service around the clock at Isogenics. The fact that he's going to be able to leave early and be home with his family. That's a story we got to tell over and over and over again. Why? We know lots of people that serve in many, many different ways. And Laura's example lets us say, you know what, when I heard Laura's story, I thought of you. I think of how often you're away from your family because you're serving as a police officer or a fireman or a nurse or a doctor or in the military. I thought of you. This opportunity could be for you. No one's pissed off because you thought of them. And if they are, they're just weird.
Amen to that. Awesome. There was a question on feeling like a product of the product, but not knowing how to convey that. I think that probably goes into people that verbally vomit a little bit, just talk too much, or so excited, so passionate, they actually scare people off. So what are some ways that you've shared just your health, how great you feel in life, how happy you are, how passionate you are without scaring people off?
If you can cycle back to that one question, imagine nutrition could change anything about your health. What would you choose to change first? I know what I changed, and tell your story, and just ask them honestly. Is there something that feels like it's out of your grasp to transform about your health? What if nutrition was the answer? Then we know what to talk about the product. We're not throwing darts in the dark.
I love that. Yeah.
Things too, you know, when you ask the 3 things that if you had done differently, and Chris knows this about me and Lori, because kind of science geeks when it came to it, and a lot of science talk, you know, a lot of nerdy talk in the beginning, and it closed people, no problem, but the duplication was not there because no one would spend an hour on the phone with them like I had. No one could explain the reason why the shakes were different than somebody else's shakes the way that I had. And they said, Ange, I would love to share it, but I simply can't do what you did with me. I don't have the time. I don't have the knowledge. So that would be what I do differently. But in light of that question, you know, I think being a product of the product is huge. You know, leveraging your relationships, leveraging your social media, talking to people, asking a lot of questions. How are you feeling? What's going on with you? What are you doing for fun these days? You know, going through like a form format and just, you know, if you have a hard time asking questions, go through the form format. Ask them about their family. Ask them about work. Ask them what they're doing for work. Ask them what their motivation is. But whatever the case might be, just make sure that you're finding out what's interesting to them. Like Chris always says, you have to be interesting to people and also equally as interested in them. And this is so incredibly important because that's when you'll no longer throw anything on people. You'll be able to have a key in instantly when someone says something to the light of that they're training for something, or they've been tired, or they're trying to get off the last few pounds. And then you could say something like Nika just said, you know, what if nutrition could change anything about your health? What would it be? And then you ask them their goals and you match it with their current budget. It shouldn't be, it should not be difficult. I think we've forgotten the art of connecting with people and making friends with people and really giving a damn about what's going on in their life because we're so worried about getting to the end result of a prospect in your business. You need to stop looking at people that way and just look at them as people that you're loving on, that you're matching up, you know, as like a marriage counselor with nutrition, you know, to provide them what they need and then take them deep.
Gosh, amen to that, Angelique. So when Barbara called me, she just listened to me. She did exactly what you just said. She shared her experience and then she just listened to my needs and she recognized how dark my life was and how much I needed something, you know? And so that's why I want you guys to really get this. I mean, You've heard it 100 times. I sold my refrigerator to get started with something, and I had no idea what I was buying. I didn't know it was shakes. I didn't know it was cleanse. I didn't know I was taking vitamins. I didn't know what I was getting started with. And yet I was willing to make a huge investment. Why? Because she listened to me. And she lighted this flame of hope in me. And that was it. That's all it took. Now, not everybody's going to do what I did. Not everybody's going to be that simple. But a lot more people will if you just listen, like Angelique said. If you'll just connect with them, heart to heart, listen to their goals, listen to their desires, and then offer them hope and a solution. So the next question is, how do you get that fire lit up in people? How have you guys taken people from product users to sharing? Not just sharing with, one or two people, but really sharing, really running with you.
We don't want to, if there's no one else going to go, we'll just say one thing that we're doing new right now that you can do at any point in time, especially if you have somebody that's a product user that's just been on auto ship forever. Look at what their personal holding volume is. Their personal holding volume, not what's going on their left or their right sales team. And say there's like 4,000 or 5,000 points sitting there. Divide that by 900, and that's how many cycles they would have if they hit consultant, by sharing it with two people that they love and care about. So just incentivize them. Say, hey, look, I know maybe this hadn't been of interest to you before, and you don't have to build like I do. But if you've been enjoying something for so long, why the heck not at least, get it for free, or at least share that same experience. One of the greatest ways you can do that for people that are afraid to sell anything, position it this way. How are you feeling? Have you been enjoying the products? Tell me what you've experienced so far. And they've been on it for a while, obviously. And you say, okay, what if I had withheld that information from you? And just wait. Because if you had withheld that information from them and they just shared with you how amazing their life is as a result of it, where would they be right now had you not told them? So say, who are you withholding information from right now that could really use this help the same way that you did, the same way that Jackie did when Lori withheld it from her, the same way with people that we withheld it from for a long time. So remember, taking them from a place of sales to service is going to be huge for them. And then going back to where, again, their personal holding volume, if they've been auto ship customers for a long time and they've been active, that keeps going into a bank, and that personal holding volume will convert to personal cycles for them the second they hit consultant. So I really think that's a way to convert somebody from a product user to a consultant. And maybe someone was once a consultant, look at the volume that they've held for so long. Sometimes they just have one person on the side that's been ordering and another person that's been ordering. I had a girl cycle 42 times last week. She fell out of consultant, but her team kept ordering. And I was like, Jen, know the state of your business, know what's available to you. So going through your back office, mundane activity, not everybody wants to do it. Go through every single person, see what's there. You will never know what kind of diamond's waiting in the rough.
I always find nothing convinces like cash. And as David said, incremental. I think you guys had just gone 4-star when I talked to you guys for the first time a million years ago. And you guys are doing really great. And I only know you guys because Chris introduced me to you guys. So there's a journey, right? And I only know Del Rey because David and Angelique introduced me to Del Rey, right? So it is spotting some greatness in some people. And Chris, I didn't know you. I'd never met you in my life when you called me. I really didn't know. I knew who you are by name, but I could have run over you in my truck and I wouldn't have known who I would run over. But,
Appreciate that.
Sometimes it's experiences too. I see my friend Tiffany is on the call, who is on our downline, and Tiffany simply just posted about taking her family to Disney World with tickets. It could be something like that just, look, I know every time we go to visit Chris and Lori, we want to make more money. We want to do better, so they've shown us places and taken us to things that financial freedom gets. And it's so hard talking about this, guys, because everyone's like, well, I don't know if I want to talk about it, but look, let's be honest. When we hang out with them, they've shown us ways in financial freedom that we never thought was possible. And it raised our financial thermostat and made us work harder. So if it's something like that, or if it's something as simple as showing social media that you are taking your family to Disney World on a vacation, then that's going to work for some people. I always say, put it on a little crystal ball and ask people real questions. Ask people real questions like, let me ask you, if you worked your tail off in your job for the next 2 years, what kind of raise are you going to get? A couple thousand? Probably not. What if you can get a $10,000, $20,000 raise? What are your ambitions? Where do you see yourself? Do you love your job? You know, most people are only looking forward to the weekend. We always talk to people, and, you know, some people are in a job because they've taken it. They had no intention of it. They just needed money, and they turn around 5-10 years later like, oh my God, I never wanted to do this. I just took this job because I needed it. And here I am because time flies. So you can be the interventionist. You can be the savior that says there's a different way. You don't have to go back to school for it. You don't have to really do much training. You just have to follow the plan and the system that has already been laid out and been successful. So where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years? And really wait for an answer. Because most people are just looking forward to their favorite TV show that week, or they're looking forward to going out with some friends for drinks, and that's how they go week to week. If I can just get to Thursday, my TV show's on, man, that'll get me through the next couple of days at work. And you got to tell them there's more out there.
It's that survival mode that we're all in.
You know, to this point, I'll just add one more little tool, and I will give you a foolproof tool that cracks at least one brand new business builder for us every single month, yet most of you won't follow through and still be doing it in the next couple of months, right? So I'm just being honest. But if every 30 days you did a blind carbon copy email to everybody who you've ever enrolled, and that email was just celebrating one of your business builders, you know, hey, you know, this month, just want to give Mary props. Mary used the products for 6 months, shared it with a couple people finally, and made $500. So proud of you, Mary. By the way, if any of you who have received this email feel like now is your time, please hit reply. I would love to work with you like I did Mary. And maybe the next month it's different. You're not celebrating someone. Maybe the next month it's putting the Enterprising Women video in there. You're saying, hey, everybody, I'm so excited to hear that you are loving your products. By the way, watch this vid. If it strikes a chord with any of you, please hit reply and let me know. I would love to talk a little bit more about this video with you. And then maybe the next month, it's celebrating somebody again. I am so proud of Amanda for hitting 1 star. That means she makes $500 a week or more. And she also has 3 kids and a full-time job. I'm so proud of you, Amanda, and I'm glad that you are a partner. By the way, if you got this email and you feel like your time is now, please hit reply. I'd love to support you like I have Amanda. That's it, the babyest email. You don't want it to be long. And what happens is it's not the first one. It's not the second one, the third, the fourth, the fifth. After the 6th month of getting this monthly email, or sometimes the 12th month or the 24th month, because everyone's timing is different, they finally have enough social proof to either say, I'm missing out, or this really works, or their timing really did change, or they want to be celebrated, damn it, not somebody else. Like, they'll all have this moment eventually for a different reason, but that won't happen unless you send out that blind carbon copy email every single month doing something like that.
Perfect. Perfect.
So awesome, Chris. And I love that. That's really just duplicating what Isogenics is doing through ICFYI, celebrating different teams and people, and the ICFYI challenge. I mean, it's just doing the same thing, but in your own downline. Love it.
I love what Chris said about consistency. I know you said it a minute ago, but I want you to come back to it. I really wish people would put in 10 hours a week, every week, then sprint and stop and sprint and stop and sprint and stop and sprint and stop. Why? Because it kills your business. And honestly, you can build this business while you have a job 10 hours a week. You can. And you can do it to the place where you're financially free. You can. But if you try to do 80 this week and then are in bed for the next 6 months, whoever you enrolled just left. The people you are turning to you for leadership has gone. Set a pace you can do every week for the rest of your life, because we're all on product B. We're going to be doing this till we're 143.
Yes, sir. So Howard, I don't know what is your first name? Is it Howard? I know you have
Gotta be W.
Love to hear it.
No, my first name is Wayne.
Oh, there you are.
His name is Eye Candy. Don't believe him.
I knew he was going to say that.
Don't believe him. Make him take off his shirt right now.
Are you serious? Anyways, I have a question. You something else, man. You said something earlier that really kind of resonated with me so hard that I had to ask it out loud. Not you, PK, Trisha. Not you. I know. You're still cute. You said, you know, your ignorance on fire is what got you to where you were, and then you hit manager mode, right? And now everything became like super regimented, and your mindset changed about it. What did you have to unlearn in order to get back or turn that manager mode off and get back to loving it again? Because I mean, when people say manager mode, like in my head, it's like, okay, you stop loving it and you start doing it instead of enjoying it. Am I making sense? I make sense to me, which isn't saying much.
Yeah. You know, it makes perfect sense. You know, there were a few key points in different events that helped me. PK actually did help me. He was mentoring me, and he helped me realize that, you know, we all have high energies and low energies. And what that means is there's things that we love to do that we could do every day without stop, without getting paid for it. Then there's low energies, the things that you barely touch it and you're like exhausted and you hate it and you're like done. You know, and for me, I'm not a manager. I don't like that part of it. And I was spending a lot of time there, and so it was sucking my energy away. And what brought me back was honestly realizing that the lifeblood of this business, what I love, is pouring hope and belief into people and getting people started. So enrollments is everything for me. Getting new people in my team that just charge my team, that bring the energy up, that get people fired up. New people is what drives my business, what drives everybody's business. And so I went back to enrolling. I went back to the basics of not trying to micromanage a team, but just trying to inspire a team by doing what we're supposed to be doing, which is helping people. So does that answer your question?
Yes, in the best way possible.
Okay, good.
And that also creates the 90-day echo.
Mm-hmm.
When you start enrolling and making your own consultants, that's what your team starts doing.
Yep.
If you look around and no one's making consultants, the first person you got to chew is you. Go to the mirror, kick your own butt, and say, okay, I'm getting back in the game. Don't settle for 10 consultants. That's just why Jim Coover hauls out his big fat check writing pen. No. We want to have more because we never want to fall out of executive a day in our life. We want that executive bonus every week. Keep making consultants. I wish that we didn't stay in the holiday pool for 3 enrollments a quarter. I'd like us to make 2 consultants every quarter for the rest of our lives, so that we always set that example of consultant making, not just enrolling. Same reason I wish there was an enrollers club. I don't want you to get free vitamins for 5 enrollments. I want you to get free vitamins for 2 consultants. Why? You'd always be doing what actually builds your business and creates a great, reliable echo. So if someone follows your example, they're nothing but golden.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, going along with that is the product piece of that too, because I have found that my team was kind of becoming this team of maintenance. They're all maintaining their weight wherever that was. They were just happy using the products. And I realized it was because I wasn't leading by example. So the same thing. I have to enroll. I also have to be in the Ice and Body Challenge, and I have to run with that and push it. And my whole team has to believe that I'm going to be a winner. I'm going to be a finalist in the Ice and Body Challenge. Because the reality is I've had corporate call because we have huge numbers on our team in the Ice and Body Challenge. And guess what? That drives up your cart, so your BV goes up. It drives up retention. It drives up accountability, and your team feels more unified. So that one thing alone has been huge in my business, and it's because I go for it. And because of that, my whole team is going for it too. We're all becoming products of the product, which really is at the heart of this. You have to be a product of the product. Awesome. Okay. All right. I know there's more questions, guys.
Can I just make reference to one thing, Trisha?
Yes.
Someone was asking where to find the script. The script is on the Evolved Economy on Facebook. So go to the Facebook, type in the Evolved Economy. There's a renewed script on there that shows you how to start at the top and go down, and also fresh numbers on how to sign some up with a PK pack. And David and Angelique just showed me a picture a few weeks ago of them showing how to do a PK pack. They were training live, and they had to show pictures of them doing it on the whiteboard. That was what you were drawing on the whiteboard, wasn't it, guys?
It was. It really was.
That's awesome. One of the things I love with the PK pack is that, you know, I started a guy on the PK pack, and then he started some in the PK pack, and then they started some in the PK pack. So just like that, in 1 month, we had 3 people start because they were taught that from the beginning. And so a part of that is how are you doing it? What are you starting with? Well, typically whatever you start with, your team will start with. Because I started the President's Pack and I had nothing, my team starts the President's Pack. It's the highest paid pack, highest spot pack on our team, because that's what I started with. And I know teams that they start at the 9-day, and so they share the 9-day all day long, so it's about what you value, and then really go back and listen to Chris's training, because I think with Chris and PK's training put together, you'll find that you sell a whole lot more PK packs and President packs.
Absolutely.
While still meeting people where they're at. Awesome. Okay.
Trisha, I have a question if no one else does.
Yes. Hey, Shannon.
Hi. So I have kind of a very opposite situation. I have an old friend from high school who is actually he is first off interested in the business aspect of it. He has no clue whatsoever what any of our products do. He's on our page, and so he's looking at the page, but I don't know where to start talking with somebody about the business aspect of it instead of talking about the products. So I'm just curious if there's any suggestions other than the U+2 script. Like, is there a better idea?
Send him the comp plan video if he's that interested.
IsogenXbusiness.com, have him start here in the start here section. I keep referencing to Chris, but he mentored us so much. I think there might be more than 5 steps now, but have them do the first 3. If they come back and they did the homework of the first 3, then you have somebody that's serious. Give them a little homework. So IsogenXbusiness.com and that start here section is a great place for him to start. There's a script there on how to show it and draw it out on a napkin if you had to, but it's where he needs to begin.
Yeah.
And you can have low-hanging fruit handled that way.
And then I would take advantage. I would ask him, hey, is there anybody that you know that's like you? I mean, you're like this. You're interested in the business. Is there any of your friends that you know that have that same mindset? If so, let's get you all on a call at the same time with my mentor who can explain the business. So that way you immediately have him looking for people like that. Chances are he gravitates to people who are like that, or he knows a couple more people who are like him that he can talk into it. And all he has to do is bring them into a 3-way call with either you or somebody that knows the business a little bit better that could help you out there. That's what reaching out to mentors is for. But that's a gift right there, because a lot of people do start this, not a lot, but there's enough people that start this just based on the business. They don't know what else it is. That's a great person to have, I think. And
a great boundary to set is, I'll know you're really serious. How about you get me on 10 3-way calls in the next 2 weeks?
Okay.
Otherwise, you might put in too much energy before they put in any. Sorry, Chris.
Okay.
No. That's great. Shannon, did you ask how to get them started, meaning how do you train them, or did you ask how to get them to sign up now that they're interested in business before the products?
Well, I obviously, I know that they need to be active in order to maintain being as a business builder. But right now he doesn't know. I haven't had a chance to talk with him about the business side of it. But again, he's on our page, so he's seen what the products are about, but I have not had a chance to talk with him about the products and how it could help him and his family health-wise. So I don't know. I guess I'm a little nervous about if he's interested as a business, but, oh yeah, you have to spend this amount of money and stay active every month, kind of a thing.
Have you signed him up yet then? No?
No.
Okay. So here's my advice. You've often heard, or you may have heard Peter Kelly talk about how she builds the value of how much it costs to start a business. So you would ask him, you'd say, how much do you think you would invest in a website? How much do you think that you'd have to invest in product, at least a little bit, to have some samples and to get started and to share with some people? How much would you have to invest in any type of marketing? Bring all those things up and let him give you numbers, because no matter what numbers he gives you, it's going to be more than one of the packs that are available for him to start on. So if he comes up with, I don't know, $4,000 total worth of all that stuff, you're going to say, I know, I would have expected it to be $4,000 or more as well. But you actually get to be in business for $20 a day or $10 a day. And that allows you to experience the product so you become an expert and start the business from day one. Which way do you want to come in? $20 a day or $10 a day to have your business? That's it. Keep it that simple. And whichever one he chooses after building this big gaudy number, you sign him up right there on the spot. Because here's what I'm starting to hear. He already told you he wants to do this business, but you haven't asked him for the sale yet. You're like, oh, wait, someone wants to do the business. All right, how many steps can I put in between before I sign him up? No, just sign the dude up. He said, I want to do the business. Ask him for the sale.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
Great advice, Chris.
Love it. All right. Any more questions, guys?
I've got to go help some more rock stars, guys. It's been great training with you all. Blessings.
We love you, PK.
Take care, buddy.
Bye,
See you guys.
That man is on a mission. Shannon, thank you for asking that question. I think a lot of us, we miss opportunities all the time because we don't either follow up or we waste too much time in between and we don't just get it going like Chris said. And I've seen it time and time again as I've talked to people. Yeah, I talked to them a couple weeks ago and they said they were interested. Well, how have you talked to them since? Oh, I just been too busy. Well, you don't really want this if somebody's interested and you haven't followed up with them in 3 weeks, you know? And so when you have somebody interested, go for it. You know, make it happen. That's awesome.
You know, a business builder is worth, is worth a lot. Obviously, we know that the business builders are what we all like to partner with. And if he doesn't know anything about the product, it's really important that you talk about how we are a product first company for compliance reasons. Because if he's just looking to come in here and just blow it up and make a bunch of money, that's great. But he also has to be a product of the product and making sure that the product always comes first. You know, if he just goes out there fishing for people and talking about money, money, money all day, then we're putting ourselves in a position where it does become, something that the FTC could come down on us for. We are a product first company. We are the heartbeat of our company is about these amazing products and superfoods. So I would really stress with him that you understand that he doesn't know anything about it, but it is, your obligation in your service to him to share with him how amazing this company is and why they're dedicated to freeing people physically first. So I really feel that that's going to be, it's going to substantiate the entire thing.
Awesome. We had somebody just ask what your number one advice is on creating leaders. And while you think about that, I want to say for our team this last week, I actually did a video and people had to say, I promise. It was their commitment. They promised. And what the video was is an obligation to share the map to Crystal Executive. And so I want you guys to really just think about this for a minute. Isagenix has provided incentives to get you started and to help you earn money right away, like David was saying. Not in like a year from now, not after paying a crazy amount of money to get a license or a certification or a college degree, but you can get paid right away in Isagenix. And that clock starts the second they enroll, right? And how many days do we have? They just extended it to Crystal Executive is what?
Crystal Executive is still 6 months.
6 months. So no, it's more now. Yeah. They added 30 days, right, Chris?
Crystal Exec is still 6 months, but Crystal Director is now 120 days instead of 90, and Crystal Manager is now 60 days instead of 30.
Okay, perfect. So they just extended all those different ranks, and we know there's a bonus attached to every single rank. So
sorry, I just have a question about that. Like that 60 days extension, so if we enroll someone today, it's actually 60 days from today's date. Wasn't
Correct.
Just for the recent.
Correct. For this entire year. Yep.
Okay. Great. That's good. Thanks.
Yeah, it's awesome. It just gives you more time, right?
Yeah.
To go from product user to consultant. So my point being is that there's so many people that are scared to share the business, even though 9 out of 10 times, that's what people want is more money. They're not going to say weight loss. If you could create one break in your life, they're not 9 out of 10 times they say they need more money and more time, not more weight loss, right? And so as we get people started as product users in our company, we have to share the 6-month rank advance bonuses. Because what if they get started and you don't tell them about it, and 6 months later they find out that there were bonuses attached to this timeline and they missed out on it because you were too scared to tell them about it. And so every single person that I enroll, whether they want the business or not, I ask them permission to share the compensation plan and the 6-month rank advance bonuses, because I'm obligated to tell them about that. And as far as how do you raise leaders, the people that have the vision and see it, and when they get the products in their body, they're going to go for that timeline. They're going to go for those bonuses, and that will show who your leaders are. All right. So do you guys have anything else to add to that as far as creating leaders in your team? Not much. I'd go back to listening to PK and about horses and mules. I love that whole piece. Horses show their colors. Leaders show their colors by posting in your groups, by getting on calls, by going to events. They're creators. So leaders are creators, and they will naturally start doing things on their own. They'll start their own pages. They'll start conversations, and they're going to do stuff all on their own. Whether they fail or not, they're just going to start doing stuff. And those are your leaders. The people that you're trying to drag and you're trying to force them to do every little thing, those are obviously not your leaders. Okay.
I disagree with you, Trisha.
What, hen?
I just agree with you. I mean, that's, like you said, you know, you shouldn't have to drag anybody in this. You shouldn't. I really feel it's like trying to carry a dead body, or somebody that's, you know, asleep like our daughter right now. Taking her up the stairs is going to be the chore, you know. It becomes dead weight, and if you do that, you spend a lot of time and a lot of energy and a lot of frustration on something that might then make other people guilty for their crime, so to speak, and you'll feel like everybody's going to be a drag in your business, when all you need to do is find somebody that you can take deep. Remember what PK always says, it's not about taking 10 people 2 feet deep, it's about taking 2 people 10 feet deep. So find those couple of people and just drive hard with them. Don't worry about the ones that are dragging. They'll come along if they're ready, if they're ever going to be ready. If not, they might just be the 97% of the population that just starts a lot of things and never finishes.
I do have a question.
Yeah, that was awesome. 2 people 10 feet deep. I love that. Awesome.
Hey, Trisha,
Yes, hon.
for the people that are dragging like that, we do have some people on our team like that. So do you keep like just pouring into them, or you just let them? Do you let them go, or do you not let them go? As in, I don't know. Do you just? It's like I think we want it more than they want it for themselves, and it's like we keep. I don't know. We pour too much into them, and they're really not doing anything. So I mean, like we don't know how to handle those people.
Well, we've always learned to match energy for energy. If somebody's giving us 100%, we give 100%. If they're 20%ers, give them 20% of your time. It doesn't mean you stop loving them. It just means you give it in doses. And if they increase that dose, you increase your dose. I really believe in an equal energy exchange. Otherwise, it will cause you to stall out and quit, because it will become a frustration for you and a burden, rather than something that you really truly love to do. And then you make other people guilty for their crime, and therefore assume that everyone's going to be that way, so that you lose your gumption, you lose your ambition. And that's just something that you don't want to happen.
Yes. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Your job, whether it's finding product users or whether it's getting somebody to not only do the business, but keep going with you and take it seriously, your job is to find them and not to beg them or drag them or anything like that, right? You're just literally going to do your thing, and you're going to do it out loud, and you're going to see how many people are attracted to doing that along with you. So it's your job to attract them, not to convince them at all.
Thank you guys so much for that last question, and for all your questions. Thank you for hey, we're fine. Thank you for bringing your energy here over the last 6 weeks, and for sharing that energy with us, because it really has been inspiring. It's been very inspiring to me, and so I appreciate that. And I'm excited for we're gonna have a few just closeout comments here as we close. I'm gonna have everybody share just last comments. But get excited for the 3rd week of March. We start our next 6-week training. And I'm so excited because we have people like Carolyn Tweetmeyer, who is an amazing woman, and she walks the walk. She's hilarious. So you guys are going to get to know her and her story and all that she's done, building a huge business with a very big family and a lot of little kids. Deanna Falcha, Corey Kinnear, for those of you that heard her trading on social media, she's going to be a blast. And Angela Maresca, Jessica Rigner. So we have amazing women coming on this next 6-week training. And then after that, we'll be announcing the next group later on. But the next group is going to be fabulous. I'm excited already for that. So I want you to continue to ask yourselves, what am I taking from these and what am I applying? Because these trainings mean nothing if you're not applying the things that are coming into your heart and your mind as you listen. You know, these trainings mean nothing if they don't bring about action. You know, Angelique just said energy for action. You know, she didn't say energy for words. She's not matching her energy for what they want in life. She's matching her energy with what they're doing and what they're showing her, right? Action. And so please, guys, get into massive action. If you're not already there, please do it. I'm telling you, from a stay-at-home mom that has never done this before and doesn't have a degree, I have enough credits to have a couple of masters, but associate's degree is all I've got. But I'm telling you, if I can do this, you can do this. If Chris can do this, you can do it. If Angelique and David and PK and Laura can do this, you can do this. And it's just a decision. I promise you, it is a decision that you can do this. It's a belief in yourself and then action, massive action. All right, that's it, guys. So thank you so much for being here with us. And with that, I'm going to let these guys close out the meeting and share their last thoughts. You guys can choose who goes first.
Go, Ange.
We just really enjoy doing this, and Trisha, we want to take our hat off to you for having the vision to host it and to continue doing this as one team. You know, this is exactly what this company stands for, so we really appreciate your leadership and your ability to go first, and thank you for having us. I mean, it was fun. We're constantly learning. We know that the 3 most dangerous words are, I know that. So I'm so glad that we don't live by that, and we're constantly learning from each other. So thank you all for being on here. Thank you for your questions. Thank you for your emotionally evoking responses. Appreciate it.
I'll say that, and this is something that I didn't come up with, but I've heard over and over again, it's network marketing. If you're not growing your network, you're not going to be good at it. You constantly have to be growing your network. If not, you will run out of people. So get comfortable being uncomfortable, and it always comes down to a matter of willpower. If you want it, it's just like in the gym. If you want it bad enough, you'll find a way. It's as simple as that.
I would say mine is this: keep growing yourself and in every way possible, because nobody wants to follow someone who's standing still, right? Think about that statement. Where the hell could you follow them to? Effing nowhere, because they're standing still. And so you're literally going to stop attracting people, and people are going to stop wanting to do what you want them to do if you're not constantly growing yourself. So self-development, books, courses, events, work out, eat right. People need to see and feel you changing all the time on a regular basis. It can never stop. You don't get to lose 10 pounds and then tell that story for the next 30 years. It doesn't work that way, and I'm just being honest so that you can succeed. Keep on growing yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. I'm going to go ahead and unmute the lines here so you can all say goodbye. Again, thank you for being here. Without you guys, you know, we wouldn't be one team. So thank you guys for showing up. All right.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trisha, for putting this together.
Trisha's awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Everybody.
Thanks, guys. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you.
Thanks, Trisha.
Good night, everyone. Thanks, Trisha.
Thank you.
Perfect for Steve Martin. Thank you.
I know, exactly. Oh my gosh. I'm so mad that I